Football in the 80s was different. There was a bit of this.
There's a fight. Well, the fight's more interesting than the play.
And they even got away with that. Yet behind all the biff and balloons rose a generation of heroes. Ablett, Dunstall, Lockett, plus a kid from the country with a spring in his step.
From the back, skipping over well as Watson racing into goal, shoots, and has put it through.
And this guy.
Timmy Watson. I could have changed my career if my arm had swung about that much lower. In '89, out here, the MCG, Mark Yates ran into me, broke my ribs. I got up, was able to kick a few goals after that, and it turned into a fairly famous grand final moment.
Dirty kicks, an amazing goal!
The week before that, the game before that, we played Essendon, and it was a brutal, brutal affair.
They don't like each other, these two sides.
Because we were knocking them around a bit. Timmy Watson, he grabbed me by the jumper and gone bang!
Dermy says you hit him in the face. Do you remember that?
Yeah, I do. I gave him a jumper punch. I think he got such a surprise. I think that led to the action that he attempted.
I'm thinking it's Timmy. I've played State of Origin footy with him, and I took a swing from the cheap seats and went...
Condon applying the tackle. In goes Dean Anderson. Brereton's there. Finds ears.
Well, we might see that bit of a fight in a moment.
Let's have a look at this.
Whoa!
That's what happened.
Lucky it didn't connect.
If he didn't duck, if I had thrown it lower, it would have knocked him into next week, and I'd have got 4 or 5 weeks.
Meaning we wouldn't have this. Hawks fans mightn't have that. And Toyota, less revenue.
Thank you, Timmy, for ducking. You let my career continue on to probably its highest moment in the 1989 grand final.
Members of the Melbourne Cricket Club, good evening and welcome to the Norm Smith Oration.
The Norm Smith Oration is a big deal. Held every year in the members' dining room at the MCG, 2 very special guests are invited to give a speech, an ode, if you will, to the members of the Melbourne Cricket Club regarding the magnificent game of Australian rules football and how it has shaped their lives.
Tonight's guest speakers know this place well.
You know, that first time you run out onto the MCG for grand final day and everything's new and alive and it's really hard to take it all in.
One of the best things in life you can do is, if you have the opportunity, which very, very few have, to walk out into the centre and just look up. Just look around the ground. It is awesome.
There were distinct similarities in their footy lives, but also deeply etched differences. I'm sure you're looking forward to hearing from them, but for now, please welcome Dermott Brereton and Tim Watson.
The first person that spoke to me about this was Mike Shan. He asked me whether or not I'd be interested in doing something like this.
I originally thought, me? How I had so many run-ins with the league.
And Brereton is forward to forward with umpire Clayton.
It's hard, you know, like when you look back over how many years you've been involved with the game and to condense it right down and think, okay, well, what am I going to be able to say that is going to entertain people?
We lived in the country. We're only like 4 hours from Melbourne, but it was a lifetime away. Dad packed us in the car once on a Saturday. He timed it beautifully to get to the game at the MCG. We got there at half time, and we didn't have to pay. Then we left early because he wanted to avoid the traffic.
And given that it is, in a fairly weird way, a love letter to football, I've found it really cathartic.
If you need stats to understand the game, you're in the wrong game. Because every club that was half decent in the 1970s had a Centurion goal kicker. But only teams with a great centre-half forward won premierships.
But of course, not all love letters are roses.
When you're playing professionally, it's hard work, and there are times you hate it.
Knee reconstructions and years, like a year out, like they're hard things to sort of work your way through.
Football has given me so much. But it's also taken away something very dear to me. Some mornings, my beautiful partner, Julie, has to put on my shoes and socks for me. With the pain in my spine, where they put in a cage inserted in there, I can't reach. I just can't pull on socks and shoes.
There were times, when coaching, I didn't particularly love that period of my life.
I should have turned and walked out straight away when I arrived at Moorabbin all those years ago.
Watson coached St Kilda in 99 and 2000.
I wanted my first day to be impactful. I wanted my first address to hit the mark. But I wanted them to forget everything that they'd been taught previously. So I'd asked the property steward to hand me a brand new TW Sharon football. I raised it above my head and I said, boys, this is what it's all about. This is a footy. The response was instant from the front of the room. Coach, can you please just slow down a bit?
Some mornings, I pathetically allow myself to get melancholic and even teary over the degeneration and the physical toll that football has taken on my body. I often ask myself, was it worth it?
I don't know whether everybody thinks the same, but I feel like the era that I played was a great time to play.
I reckon the modern footballer is less angry. When the moment comes when you've got to dig through the layers to find something that's in your soul, those players like Toby that have that touch of anger still from yesteryear, they can do it. They can find it.
And we are on. And Toby at the bottom of that, no surprise.
I don't envy a lot of the players of today because it almost seems like the game's a burden on them because of all the, the media, the social media, all those sorts of things that are associated with the game that weren't part of our world. Like we worked and we went to training at night time and then we went home after that, we had our dinner and then we went to work the next day.
Case in point, here's Brereton's teammate, Dean Anderson, on a Saturday, banking the premiership sealing goal in 1989. But come Monday, Dean would have been back at his NAB desk, where he worked as an actual banker. Now consider Noah, Dean Anderson's son, robbing the Bank of Collingwood in 2025. Unlike Dad, Noah spends all of his time at the club, training, gymming, analysing tape, getting physio, taking ice baths, watching more tape, plus other professional obligations.
As much as it would have been great to be a full-time professional and for that to be the only thing that you were doing, I think that what we experienced as players, having a family life, having our football life and then having our work life, I think that sort of was a really good rounding of us at that time.
Ladies and gentlemen, to football.
Yeah, well, sometimes I like a cigarette at night under the old oak tree.
I loved the dressing room and the banter and the connection that you had, with people day in, day out. And it was like you really felt like you were part of something. So once you get out of the game, it's a different observation about the game. But you no longer feel like you can just walk into the club rooms or anything like that. You feel like you're on the outside of that. So you love changes.
I like the game now. It has elements of it I don't like as much, and I understand why the game has changed in a certain direction, the direction of society that has probably dragged it along with it as well. I respect, I like, and I've always loved the game, but I'm not in love with the game that I played.